matter is before us.
Right, we got to get recordings and we need to remove a bunch of people from the room. So I'm going to mute the room while we get. people
Please do.
I don't know why it's all left over from.
Chair, we're ready
Yes.
to confirm the individuals attending as Jim, who they are, before we move on.
Okay, just a first comment. Could the person named Jim identify himself for the record? Jim or James, identify yourself for the record. Is that person on mute?
Yeah, I'm not being this.
Star 6 to go off mute.
He's not on the phone. Okay, so he is just showing as Jim unverified on our end. Chair and Susan.
The person named Jim, identify yourself for the record.
We need to have that identity to know whether you are allowed to be in the executive session. So please unmute yourself and identify yourself. Otherwise, you will be removed from the room.
Okay, let's remove the person named Jim from the room. And if that person comes back, let's verify his identity as best we can. Is that acceptable?
Yes.
Okay, so if we're dealing with,
So we need just a moment to
Second.
give everyone else permission to turn their cameras on
I appreciate
and
that.
their mics. So just a moment.
Thank
please.
you. We'll wait for your go say.
Chair, just to let you know, respondent number 25 did put in the chat earlier that they had to leave, so they are not currently online.
Okay, so may I speak yet?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's awesome.
Procedurally, the matters we're going to consider in tandem with individual decisions when the time comes for decisions are items 20, 22, 24, and 25.
No,
It's all-
they're all together.
Yeah.
So those individuals are all together.
23 is also here.
23. What
So Chair,
wasn't represented by Mr. Hale or everything?
yes, the chair, items 20 through 25 are all going to be heard together.
Right.
The respondents in 20, 22, 24, and 25 are all represented by Benjamin Hale.
Right.
The respondents 21 and 23 are not represented by the attorney.
So those two should not be in the room at the same time. Am I right?
They're not attending.
They're on right now.
They're not attending. They have not responded, so.
They're not appearing, but if
They're on the thing right now.
they're on, so they probably shouldn't be on with the same group. Am I right?
The case was consolidated. They were all given the option to have their cases heard separately if they will.
So they can be in even though when Mr. Hale speaks, he'd be representing some of them, not all of them. And so the two
Yes.
can be in with the group because they are consolidated. Okay, colleagues, that's been a little side conversation. I apologize for that. We're going to be moving to consider the City of Portland items, roughly speaking, in the order in which they appear. We will have one report on the entire issue. We will make, of course, individual decisions. The individuals who are appearing, and I'm not sure they're all on or not. There's some on Teams and maybe some on the phone, but James Dunphy Jr., I'm not sure he's on, maybe not. Samir Kanal was on at one point, may not be on. Maybe he's on. I see him now. Thank you, sir. Mr. Benjamin Hale, if I'm saying that right, he's Ben Hale. I see his photo there. He's the attorney representing the following, not the previous two I mentioned, but represent the following. Number 20, Candace Avalos. Number 22, Mitch Green. Number 24, Tiffany Koyama Lane. And number 25, Angelita Murillo, if I'm saying those names right. So our approach on these matters is to consider them all at the same time in the sense of a report that's made. After the report and our chance to ask questions of our investigator, we'll turn to the respondents and allow you each to make a comment if you choose to make one. You should feel no obligation. Just for the record, when it comes time your turn to speak, we will try to hold you each to a 3-minute time limit if you choose to speak because of the length of our agenda. I should also say that two things. One, my name is Dave Fiscum. I'm the current chair of the commission. We're happy to have you all with us online. Thank you for your patience with our agenda today and our schedule. So our approach is, as I outlined, you probably are aware of this to some degree, but our first issue will be our report from our investigator for these matters, who is Investigator Daniel Pacheco. Please proceed.
Thank you, Chair Fiscum and Commissioners. This is Investigator Daniel Pacheco for the record. Agenda items 20 through 25 in your meeting books are preliminary review reports from members of the Portland City Council, identified in this report as the Peacock members. Complaint in this matter concerns a private retreat held on August 6, 2025. Specifically, it alleges that the Peacock members' attendance at the retreat resulted in a quorum of 4 separate city policy committees: the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, the Homelessness and Housing Committee, the Climate Resilience and Land Use Committee, and the Labor and Workforce Development Committee. Based on the information gathered, each of the Peacock members participated in a quorum of one or more of the committees. As the Oregon Supreme Court has indicated, there are 2 separate ways a governing body may violate public meetings law when they conduct activities outside of public view. The first is by convening a meeting without complying with provisions in RS Chapter 192. It appears in this case that the Peacock members' August 6 retreat communications were interpersonal in nature, such that they met the exceptions in RS 192.690 sub 1 sub M. The second way a governing body can violate public meetings law is by conducting a meeting in private for the purpose of deciding on or deliberating towards a decision on any matter. To violate the meeting private provisions of ORS 192.630 sub 2, it must involve the following. 1, a quorum. 2, it must be in private. 3, it must be for the purpose of deliberating or deciding a matter. And 4, the topic is within the body's jurisdiction. In this case, each of the Peacock members, through their presence at the retreat, reached a quorum of at least one of the policy committees, which met in private. Thus, the first two elements are met. The next question is whether the meet was for the purpose of deliberating or deciding on any matter. In this case, the August 6th retreat agenda included vision and strategy alignment. While some of the members and the city asserted that the Peacock members did not reach this portion of the agenda, the city acknowledged that such discussions, quote, would have implicated public meetings law if those policies would likely come before any of the 4 committees for which a quorum was present, end quote. As such, it appears that the third element was met. The last question is whether the vision and strategy alignment was a topic within the jurisdiction of one of the committees. In this case, a topic identified in the work group questions was prosper defunding, which appears to support the last element. Given the limited information that was available from the August 6th retreat, in this case, the retreat agenda, the facilitator guide, and only one fully completed pre-retreat worksheet, should this case move to investigation, commission staff would seek to gather additional evidence regarding the Peacock members' communications to determine if the retreat resulted in a violation of 630 sub 2. Based on the information gathered in this preliminary review, there appears to be a substantial objective basis to believe that the Peacock members violated ORS 192.630 sub 2, and the commission should investigate accordingly. Thank you.
Investigator, the next step in our process, everyone calls for us to ask questions, commissioners to ask questions of our investigators. So I will see if there's anybody who wants to ask a question based on what you've heard and read on these matters involving the city of Portland. Any questions? Okay, there are 2 individuals who are not, by my information, represented by Mr. Hale. So I will see if Mr. Dunphy is in the room virtually. James Dunphy, I don't think he's here.
He is not, Madam Chair.
It's nodding no. Mr. Canal, I think I saw your name earlier. Are you here?
He is here,
camera.
Your Honor.
He isn't. He just told me.
His camera and mic, we just had a notion are disabled. So maybe he can try to re-enter the room in a moment with perhaps if he needs our help. So we will call on Mr. Kinnear later if he can re-access our meeting. For the moment, I want to turn and ask, first of all, Mr. Hale, do you want to speak first? And then those who you represent individually, or how would you like to proceed?
Yes, sir. I would like to speak first,
Okay.
and then we will turn to Ms. Avalos and then Ms. Koyama Lane and the others from there. I think if it can simplify matters, Mr. Samir Kanal would probably agree that I represent him as well. I think he wants to be within this treated the same as the other city councilors in this hearing. Mr. Dunphy conveyed to me that he was very sorry that he could not attend today, and that he appreciates the work of the committee, and that he hopes that you will proceed justly without him, and he's very sorry he can't be here.
Thank you. We just did get a note from Mr. Kinnear, if I'm saying his name right, Cannell, pardon me, pronunciation is not my strong suit. So he just indicated by chat that he does agree with what you just said, Mr. Hale. So let's turn now to Mr. Hale. Please make comments to us, and you can follow Mr. Hale in any order you wish. The only thing we ask is twofold. One, you identify yourself for the record as you speak, and then in a friendly way, we're going to try to hold each of you to a 3-minute time limit given the length of our schedule. So Mr. Hale, identify yourself for the record. Please proceed. Thank you for being here.
Good morning, Chair and members of the Commission. My name is Benjamin Hale. I'm an attorney at the Oregon Justice Resource Center. It's an honor to speak to your committee today. It's my first time in front of you. I have great respect for the work of you and your staff to preserve government transparency and educate public officials about their ethical duties. Now, these City Council members, as you've heard, held a retreat. And that retreat was for interpersonal relationship building, repairing, and learning each other's communication styles. Mr. Pacheco accurately reported that they did not talk about anything that would be decided by City Council or any of its committees. In his recommendation, he went on to take a very careful and thoughtful approach to how this retreat could have convened with the purpose of talking about matters within the jurisdiction of one of the committees. Committees of the Portland City Council consist of 5 city council members. A quorum is 3, and there was a quorum of 4 committees in this retreat. And the city councilors attending the retreat all knew this. They all knew that a quorum would constitute a public meeting where they would need to respect transparency and public meeting laws. Mr. Pacheco's careful work and the work of this committee to enforce public meeting laws is very valuable, but Mr. Pacheco's recommendation to proceed further with an investigation relies on too many faulty inferences about what people could have intended to eventually say if they had reached the last agenda item, even though they didn't. In the original agenda, that item was described as vision and strategy alignment. What would we be proud to accomplish by year's end? Ms. Avalos, the author of the agenda, will explain that this was an early description of a topic that she later refined to show that it was about interpersonal goals. If one of the city council members had brought up a topic that was within the scope of a committee's decision-making, another would have said to stop. These councilors care deeply about maintaining transparency in governing and transparency in the work of their committees. We can't infer bad intentions of the participants at the start of a meeting just because of a topic listed in an early agenda. It's a little bit like the case of Handy versus OGEC, where a quorum of Lane County commissioners participated in a series of emails about whether to release a letter in response to a public records request. The Supreme Court explained that we cannot infer from their mere participation by email that they were participating in the decision. All they had done was reply to an email thread on that subject, and some of them just raised their concerns about other matters like liability of the county. Likewise, we cannot infer here that a person intended to talk about vision and strategy alignment just because they went to a meeting where that was on the agenda. And even if they did intend to talk about vision and strategy alignment, you will hear today that what they meant by that, if they had reached it, was alignment on their interpersonal communication and goals and relationship building. And this is why we as Americans and Oregonians do not allow prior restraint of speech. It creates too much of a minefield, has too much of a chilling effect on our freedom of speech. A retreat is a valuable form of assembly and speech that is protected by Article 1, Section 8 of the Oregon Constitution and the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. Our Constitution doesn't allow them to violate public meeting laws. Article 1, Section 8 protects freedom of speech, but says every person shall be responsible for the abuse of this right. That is the opposite of prior restraint. It means we're responsible for the words we actually say. The best ideas come up in groups where people feel safe to speak. Being a lawmaker is hard. These lawmakers wanted to regroup and heal after a difficult session. In this country, we don't punish people for what they might have thought about saying, but didn't say. These elected officials will explain that they appreciate government transparency, that this was not a planning session, they did not intend to talk about legislative priorities, and if anyone had, another would have said stop. Therefore, this investigation should be dismissed. Unless the commission has a preference, the members would like to speak in the following order. Ms. Avalos will go next, then Ms. Koyama Lane, then Mr. Canal, and then I will speak briefly for Ms. Murillo, who was here in the morning but had to leave for an appointment, and then Mr. Green will speak last. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hale. Thank you for your appearance today. You've gone, no offense meant, a little past your time, but we appreciate the tone, character of your comments, and we want to hear from the others. The order is your choice. As others speak, identify yourself for the record. We're happy to have you speak in total to us, after which we may have some questions for one or more of you, so please proceed. Ms. Avalos, are you?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I guess we can. Please proceed.
Okay, good afternoon, Chair, members of the Commission. Thank you again for this opportunity to speak today and for the work that you do to uphold transparency and integrity in public service. I take Oregon's public meetings law very seriously. In fact, before joining the City Council, I spent 8 years at Portland State University as the student government advisor. A major part of my job was teaching OPML to student leaders, training them on transparency requirements, guiding them in good governance practices, and helping them understand how to be responsible stewards of public dollars and authority. So although I'm a newer elected official, I am not new to Oregon's transparency laws or to the principles behind them. Respect for the public process has been foundational to my career. Moreover, I was fully aware that the presence of a quorum of any committee of the City Council would constitute a meeting subject to public meetings law, and the Portland City Attorney reiterated this fact in a training to me and other members of the City Council. I want to be clear at the outset, no policy discussions, deliberations, or decisions occurred at the August 6th retreat. The purpose of that gathering was, and ultimately remained, interpersonal relationship building among colleagues after a difficult and emotionally charged budget season. The discussions we actually had were entirely focused on communication styles, values, trust, and repairing working relationships. I understand that the preliminary review raised questions about whether the retreat convened for the purpose of deliberating on matters within the jurisdiction of several committees, so I'd like to address that directly. I was the counselor who organized the retreat and drafted the agenda. From the beginning, I had the firm intention to comply with public meeting law. The draft agenda referenced in the complaint was exactly that, an early brainstorming draft created before I refined it to ensure full legal compliance. In the days following my circulation of the agenda, I took care to refine the topics for the retreat to be entirely focused on interpersonal reflection and not contain any plans to talk about any topic within the jurisdiction of the City Council or its committees. I took care to remove anything that might be misinterpreted as policy-oriented or any topic that could relate to the deliberations of a committee. I also received feedback from other city council members about the draft agenda, and the final version of the retreat content that I intended to cover is reflected in the worksheet included in the city's response. That worksheet represents the actual lawful material I facilitated. In the worksheet, the last section was called Vision, Strategy, Looking Ahead, just like in the agenda. The first question was, by the end of this year, what would you be proud to say we accomplished together as a caucus? My answer reflects the type of topic I intended to discuss in this section. I wrote, I'd like us to establish our identity and power. The next question in the Vision and Strategy section was, what do you personally need from your fellow counselors to do your best work in the next 6 months? This section is a little bit personal, but I think it's important to give you context. What I wrote was, I need counselors to understand the impact of the daily racism and microaggressions that I face in City Hall, and for them to be aware, point it out, and not leave me hanging when it's obvious that the treatment I'm getting is rooted in these racial dynamics. I also wrote that fat phobia shows up as incompetence and that I can't keep up, and I ask that you recognize it. Importantly, we never moved beyond that reflective relationship-focused work, and we spent the entire session debriefing the emotional impact of the budget cycle, understanding one another's communication styles, and rebuilding trust. We did not reach and never attempted to reach any part of the early agenda that referenced broader visioning or strategy. At every step, I was careful to ensure we remain within the bounds of law. I understand that the commission must examine not only what occurred, but also the purpose of the convening. And in this case, the purpose was interpersonal and restorative, not policy related. And the content of the final retreat material supports that. That said, I deeply respect the commission's role and the need to avoid even the appearance of impropriety. My colleagues and I will continue to seek regular guidance from the city attorney and to follow public meetings law with utmost care. I appreciate the opportunity to clarify the record today. Thank you, and happy to answer your questions.
Thank you. Please proceed. Who's ever next?
Chair,
Yes,
can we please pause for a moment?
yes.
There is someone who is leaving.
Just
Perfect.
disappeared.
Okay, we were having issues with the waiting room. I do apologize. The person of concern has left.
We may proceed
We
in
may
light of that right away. You have to worry about exit entrance, so
We are good. Yes.
I appreciate it.
apologize.
And you, please feel free if that happens to interrupt us and we'll rectify the situation. So
Thank
thank
you.
you for the heads up. Okay, please proceed. Whomever is next.
That's me. Good
Tiffany.
afternoon, Chair Fiscum, Vice Chair Payne, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Tiffany Koyama Lane. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you all today. I want to start by saying that I have a tremendous respect for Oregon's public meeting laws, our ethics laws, and the principles of transparency that guide them. As a member of Portland's new City Council, and as a mother, as an elementary school teacher, I take these responsibilities very seriously, and I understand how important public trust is, both to the Commission and to the people that we serve. I would like to emphasize that the retreat in question was an interpersonal gathering of the members of the Progressive Caucus. Its purpose was relationship building, not policy discussion, not deliberation, not committee business. We were extremely mindful of these limits. The city attorney had informed us that a quorum of any committee would be a meeting subject to Oregon public meeting laws. There was no deliberation of city business at this retreat. The investigative report confirms this point. It finds no evidence of deliberations, no actual violation of quorum restrictions. In fact, Well before the retreat, when I saw a draft agenda that included that closing prompt that Councillor Avalos mentioned, what do you hope to achieve in the coming year? I immediately called Councillor Avalos directly and said that we could not discuss that question. I explained that even a question framed around goals could risk being misconstrued if any of our answers overlapped with the subject areas handled by the committees, like the one I said on transportation and infrastructure. So I was concerned, in other words, about avoiding the very scenario that this complaint now speculates about. Because of that, I would not have discussed this topic or allowed others to discuss it in my presence. The remaining concern is about intention. The idea that because a draft agenda early on contained an item that I intentionally avoided, that alone could justify further investigation. I want to express my concern with that standard. Investigating an unacted upon item would be speculative and would place elected officials in a position where even considering whether to discuss the topic, then deciding not to discuss it, could be treated as suspect. I worry that could create a chilling effect on our ability to meet for legitimate lawful purposes, including interpersonal or trust building conversation. It would function as a prior restraint on ordinary speech and on professional relationship building. So we followed the law, we proactively avoided the topic that could have raised concerns, and the investigation found no deliberation and no violation. For these reasons, and for the integrity of both the process and the standards that this important commission applies, I respectfully urge you to dismiss the complaint before you all today. Thank you genuinely for your time and for all of your thoughtful stewardship of Oregon's ethics laws. And because I have some extra time, extra thank you to Chair Fiscom for your many years of service. That was actually kind of special that we were let in and got to hear about those kind words about you and about your dedication to bipartisan, fact-based ethics. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Green, are you still with us? I'm going to presume you are. You're on mute for the moment, but if you unmute yourself, please speak.
All right, I'll get right to it. I see the timer. Good morning, Chair Fiscom, Commissioners. I appreciate the opportunity to speak before you today. For the record, my name is Mitch Green. I'm a Portland City Councilor. I'll keep my comments brief and simply reaffirm my support for the work that this body is charged with, upholding the public trust through the enforcement of our public meetings laws. Sunshine laws are an important tradition in the American political system and serve as a necessary bulwark against abuses of power by those in public offices at all levels of government, irrespective of party, creed, or ideology. While I am confident that my own participation in the August 6th retreat was within the bounds of the law, I'm grateful for the opportunity to learn from this commission, our city attorney, my colleagues, and members of the community who may have genuine concerns about the stewardship of the public trust. And just to note, the report mentions Prosper defunding as a potential area of concern in this matter. And I just want to make it really clear that matters related to Prosper Portland are under the jurisdiction of the Arts and Economy Committee of City Council, and there was not a quorum there. I do want to say that I think it's good when electeds meet to strengthen their relationships, learn how to communicate through differences, and find ways of reaffirming each other our joint commitment to public service. In a time of deep political polarization, I believe this kind of work is a crucial piece of upholding the public trust. I'll close by saying that I enter this process with a lens towards strengthening our faith in government and openness and willingness to learn. Thank you.
Mr. Green, thank you. Mr. Hale, I think you may have a comment for Ms. Murillo, but if you have that, please be brief. Thank you. You're on mute, Mr. Hale.
Okay, yes, thank you.
There
I
you
will
go.
be brief.
Thank you.
Ms. Murillo,
Please
Ms. Murillo is very sorry that she could not be here for this meeting. She was here in the morning, but she had an appointment at 1 that she had to leave for. So she sent me some brief remarks. She expressed gratitude for the hearing and the opportunity for all of the commissioners to be heard and for the value of government ethics. She said, "I don't believe we violated quorum rules because we did not discuss matters that would go before committees. But it's important to address even the perception of violating rules to retain public trust. In many instances, when an agenda item or a meeting was in progress, we have cut someone off when they have veered into a quorum violation. And I'm confident that that would have happened here had we gotten to the last agenda item. I worry about the chilling effect of censoring even intent, because then we might not talk to each other unless something is perfect. During our retreat, we had discussions about relationships and caring for each other in a very difficult new position. We did a lot of leadership style quizzes to learn how better to communicate with one another. We want to do right by the rules and the public trust, and appreciate any feedback and guidance that comes from this. Thank you.
Thank you, respondents. We appreciate all your comments and the tone and character of them, and I appreciate your support for what I'll call good government, open government, transparent government. Now's the time for me and my colleagues to ask any questions we have of you. I should say, stop first.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. McCall, do you want to speak?
Yeah.
Mr. Canal, do you want to speak for a moment?
Yes, I would. Thank you.
Please proceed.
Thank you for this opportunity to speak to you today. I'm Samir Kanal. I represent District 2 on Portland City Council. My district runs St. John's to the airport. And I have the immense privilege of serving with really great people on the council, including Councilor Koyama Lane, together with the first 2 Asian Americans to serve on Portland City Council, and working together with councilors who have different backgrounds from me, from each other, and from the 150 years of councilors who came before in a system that has often been hostile, can create unique challenges, including relational challenges. And this year was particularly difficult. A new system, 11 new councilors and a new mayor, a difficult budget process. And after those public discussions on the budget in late June, we had some time away, but not yet time to unpack and talk through the impacts that the recent work had had on us personally and relationally, nor the opportunity to use this context as to talk about how we communicate to help us be better at communicating in the future. And I'm so grateful we had that retreat on August 6th to be able to talk about that. It was hard to schedule. I had a town hall in Holiday Park that night, but it was really great. As the record shows, I didn't engage in the planning process much. I didn't fill out the questionnaire. I learned a lot, though, about how to communicate with colleagues who are more than just people I see at work. Maybe this colleague needs to jump right to the point. Maybe this other colleague wants to have a "how are you doing" first. Maybe I take it personally when I'm not asked about something that before it's discussed, in this topic area, but not in that. Maybe we're sometimes affected by the same systems in office that kept people from our communities from being in office for decades, and we have personal reactions to share with our friends. And that's what our retreat was about. There is a draft agenda that includes the final item, vision and strategy alignment. The staff in their report indicated they've reviewed and determined we did not end up even discussing this item because it was last on the agenda and we spent a lot of time on the communication styles item before it. But there is an assertion in their report that we may have met, quote, for the purpose of deliberating or deciding, end quote, something that may have come to our committee's jurisdiction, which not only didn't happen, but wasn't the intent. I personally support the principles behind Oregon Public Meeting Law. In fact, I've trained members of city advisory groups in my last job on the administrative side into how to not only meet those compliance requirements, but also how to show that you're doing so to avoid the appearance. I knew the challenges then, I know them now, I still plan to meet them. And I think one could choose to read the agenda item as policy accomplishments, but I thought about very different things when I first saw that after this whole process. Most notably, how people feel about charter reform and representation. How we discussed it, I'd have wanted to accomplish things like making people who feel historically excluded or feel like they have been from City Hall feel like they can be a part of their local government. The Prosper defunding item was a retrospective about how we communicated about a previous item, not policy or budget, but how our communications about it made each other feel in the moment, and being honest about that with our colleagues. It remains vital to ensuring that new electeds are able to continue having personal relationships, including in private conversations that don't implicate public meetings law. And while I'm talking about that staff report, I must also point out that the December 3rd report refers to Councilor Candace Avalos multiple times as Candace Owens. Both are Black women, but Black women are not interchangeable. And Mrs. Owens' politics and values are very different from Councilor Avalos's, highlighting the exact need to be able to talk about how systems are sometimes uniquely challenging to navigate. These topics are really important, and when we talk in public about how to address these issues, it can create a lot of reactions, including personal ones, and that relational impact is able to be discussed in private. I'm not asking OGEC to fix these problems. I'm simply asking you to understand that talking about their impacts on us and our relationships to each other does not violate public meetings law. And I really appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and sorry I almost avoided you. I didn't mean to. The time is now for us to ask any questions of any of those respondents. I have a question for our investigator in a moment, but I will yield to Vice Chair Payne, please.
First of all, I just want to thank you for informing us about the issues that you are facing as counselors and the issues that you discussed at your retreat. I think it's very informative to us. I do have a couple questions, and I'll direct them to Attorney Hale, and if anybody else wants to answer, that's fine. several of you referred to the agenda as a draft agenda. I'm looking at the agenda. Nowhere on the agenda does it say draft agenda. And I'm wondering if there was another agenda at any point that was issued and whether that was provided to the commission. That's my first question. My second question is whether any counselors other than counselors Avalos and Green filled out the worksheet, because those were the only worksheets that I saw provided to the commission. Those are my two questions.
Okay, thank you, Vice Chair. I will respond briefly to those, and then I believe Ms. Avalos might want to say some more about the history of the agenda drafting process. That is the only agenda, but after that, it was an iterative process where people talked about what would be coming up, and Ms. Avalos later prepared the worksheet with the questions and answers, and she has stated that that was the closest in time to the meeting, the closest written indication of what she intended to discuss during the meeting. And then her answers to that are particularly telling as to what she intended to talk about and lead the group in talking about at that time. So that's why we refer to the agenda as a draft. It came out several days earlier and was really just a brainstorm to kind of focus people's attention on what could occur, and then there were many reiterations of what they actually planned to talk about. And you asked about the who filled out the worksheet, and as far as I know, and people can correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I know, only Ms. Avalos filled out the whole worksheet and Mr. Green filled out the beginning of it, and no one else did. And I think some people didn't even look at the agenda before the meeting. In fact, Ms. Murillo had specifically told me that she got into the meeting without ever having looked at the agenda, that she apologizes for that, but that she had a busy day. So with that, I will turn to Ms. Avalos to see if she has anything to add.
Yes, as a former teacher, these are all bad students because nobody did the worksheet except Mitch. He did a piece of it. So yeah, I was the one who filled it out fully. But yes, what part of what was going on for me is that it was extremely iterative because things were changing quickly. And it was, as you heard from Counselor Koyama Lane, like she had called me and she's like, well, let's change this and let's change that. When it ended up becoming the time of the meeting, in fact, earlier that day, we had like a whole council meeting prior. So we were late to our meeting. And in the process, I was changing it up leading up to it because things were emerging that it just became more clear that we needed to really zero in on our relationships because it was very fresh. Sorry, someone's at my door. I think I'll leave it at that for now. I'm so sorry. 1 second.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anya, I've got a question for our investigator, but colleagues, anybody else want to ask a question right now? My question for our investigator, Mr. Pacheco, if I look at page 11 of your report, question is, the paragraph says, according to the city's website, the committee's focus. Committees is a reference to what?
To the 4 committees, the Climate Resilience and Land Use, Homeless and Housing Committee, Labor and Workforce Development Committee, and the Transportation.
Not this committee, then, which this is your reference on the website is to a separate set of committees.
Yes.
Am I right?
Peacock members that's just how they identify.
That's different. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
They are all members of those committees.
I understand. I point that out not because I'm reaching a conclusion on anything. I'm just thinking out loud with you to say that those issues mentioned therein by committees are clearly issues that a council might have to consider at some point. So it sounds like those topics that identified on page 11 of the report were not topics for your quote committee unquote meeting on that time. Am I right? I see heads nodding yes. Ms. Koyama Lane is nodding yes. I'll take you at your word. Thank you. Any other Commissioner Halt, please?
Oh, no, I don't have anything to add, except that, yes,
No.
you're correct.
Commissioner.
Thank you. Commissioner Halt, please, your question or your comment?
Thank you, Commissioner Fiscum, Chair. I am curious as if this meeting was ever publicly noticed.
I think I can
That's a que-
answer that no, it was not publicly noticed. It was a private meeting. Everyone understood it to be a private meeting, but there was nothing sneaky about it at all. You know, they were exchanging written intentions about the meeting and they held it in a public building.
But
Thank you.
many people had said that they knew that this was, that this could be considered a public meeting, but it wasn't publicly noticed. That's what I was questioning.
I believe they did not consider it a public meeting. They did not think anyone would consider it a public meeting. They were only planning to talk about interpersonal relational goals.
Ms. Kalami Lane, I see your hand up. I'll give you a quick time to answer a quick question. Please proceed quickly.
Okay, because our full council is 12, we're 6 of us meeting interpersonally. And so we're not worried about having an interpersonal retreat. So that's my answer. So
Thank you. Any other questions? Commissioner of Health, you have another question?
No, thank you.
Oh, I just see your hand still up, so thank you for your question. Other questions, colleagues? For our respondents? Okay, hearing and seeing none, the time is now for us to think about how to proceed on this matter. Open to suggestions or comments, colleagues. First, Vice Chair and then Commissioner Thompson, please.
I think this is a situation where I have a lot of sort of remaining questions. I think for me, I think I just still need more information. So like not leaning towards any sort of decision. I guess I'm still bothered by this agenda where it says first of all, let me back up. The alleged allegation is not that there was any decision made, but that there was an intent to deliberate. And I guess I'm just still a little bit bothered by the content of this agenda, that the retreat purpose was to discuss what the caucus was to achieve together and what the caucus would be proud to accomplish by year's end. And it seems like there was even discussion among the caucus members that if they were to reach that agenda item, that would be problematic. And yet there was an agenda item and a listed retreat purpose. So I'm bothered by that, and it doesn't seem like this agenda was ever replaced by any other agenda. And although, so I'm just left with a lot of questions. And so for me, I think I want to move this to investigation to have some of those questions answered, even if that topic was never reached. And that's where I'm leaning. So.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Commissioner Thompson and Commissioner Mettler. Commissioner Thompson first, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I tend to agree with the Vice Chair. I'm listening to the counselors. I don't hear that anything was necessarily violated, but at the same time, I am left with questions about the agenda. And I think that is something I would like to see us flush out, just for even if for the sake of just saying everything was above board. I mean, that we could very much end up to saying, yeah, everything was fine. But I think there are still some lingering questions that we need to answer.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Mettler, please.
Yeah, my question was, if this does move forward to investigation, what would that investigation focus on? So I guess this is a question for the investigator.
Investigator Pacheco.
Thank you for the question, Commissioner. So just because there were, just like I noted earlier, limited information, I think ideally if it moved to investigation, I'd like to speak to each of the council members individually with their attorney, of course, to clarify what was discussed and what led up before this meeting. As you could tell during, not just a bit earlier ago, some of the council members were noting that they were discussing changes to the agenda. So now I am curious on what those discussions were about. Were there other revisions of that agenda and how do they look like? So if it moved to investigation, that would be some of the things I would look into. Thank you.
Commissioner Miller, follow up.
No follow-up. That's what I
Thank you.
needed. Thanks.
Commissioner Held, please.
Thank you, Chair Fiscom. I'm very curious. I would love to understand. I second Vice Chair and Commissioner Thompson's sentiments. I still have a lot of questions. One of the questions that I really have is feelings. What feelings are discussed? How am I feeling about a budget? Seems like I could be very frustrated about something that didn't happen that I wanted. And if you're feeling the same way, and then you're feeling the same way about a budget item, is that moving towards a decision? So that's one of the things that's sort of weighing a little bit heavier. I really appreciate the sentiment of trying to find better ways to communicate, but I'm not sure we were communicating about the correct things. And I really would like to understand as well what kind of communications were happening around the agenda as well, because that seems like we were trying to avoid things and we were having conversations about what we're trying to avoid. Those are the kind of questions that I'm curious about. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from my colleagues, please? Hearing and seeing none, the time is now for us to move toward a decision. I'm looking for someone to make a comment about how we ought to proceed further. We have some comments already. Vice Chair, you prepared to make a motion?
Yes, Chair. I move the commission find there is a substantial objective basis for believing that Candace Avalos may have violated ORS 192630 subsection 2 and that the commission should investigate accordingly.
Thank you for the motion. Respondents, please understand that our policy allows us to consider your comments collectively, and then we will be making individual decisions on counselor by counselor. So be prepared for that. That's going to happen in the next few minutes as we move forward in the order in which your names appear on our schedule today. You've heard the motion, colleagues. Any comments on the motion? Hearing and seeing none, the administrator will call the roll. This is item 26 on our
20.
Pardon me, 20. I have my glasses off partially. Item number 20 on our executive session calendar. Please proceed.
Commissioner Resendez Gutierrez.
Commissioner Gutierrez, are you still online?
He had indicated he might need to leave, so I don't know if he has.
Okay. Let's proceed as if he is not here. Please proceed.
Thank you. Commissioner Mettler.
Aye.
Commissioner Jancy.
Aye.
Commissioner Halt.
Aye.
Commissioner McCauley.
Aye.
Commissioner Burke.
It's not present.
You're not present.
Sorry.
Commissioner Thompson. Commissioner Payne.
Aye.
Chair Fiscom.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0.
Let me say one thing before we proceed, respondents. This is a comment I could make 5 or 6 times in the next moment, so I'll make it once. Please understand that what we have done with regard to Candace Avalos is not find there to have been a violation. The form of the motion was very intentional by using the word may. What we have identified is a need for more information. There's been no violation. That's a distinction that frankly is not always well understood by some of those who follow our work. So I want to make it very clear that we have not found there to be a violation by the action we just took with regard to one counselor. You identified the need for more information, and we will look forward to working with you individually on that effort to gain more information going forward. So I wanted to make sure that was said for the record. We'll now turn to item 21, Vice Chair.
Did 21?
Pardon me.
We have to do that one separate?
No, you can.
We can
Yeah,
do
we
it,
can
we
do
can do it
21? Okay.
collectively, yeah.
I move the commission find there is a substantial objective basis for believing that James Dunphy Jr. may have violated ORS 192630 subsection 2, and the commission should investigate accordingly.
For the motion, colleagues, we will ask the administrator to call the roll on item 21.
Commissioner Mettler,
Aye.
Commissioner Jancy,
Aye.
Commissioner Halt,
Aye.
Commissioner McCauley,
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson,
Aye.
Commissioner Payne,
Aye.
Chair Fiskum.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0.
Moving on to item 22 involving Mitch Green. Vice Chair, please.
I move the commission find there is a substantial objective basis for believing that Mitch Green may have violated ORS 192630 subsection 2, and the commission should investigate accordingly.
Heard the motion. The administrator will call the roll, please. Item 22.
Commissioner Jancy,
Aye.
Commissioner Halt,
Aye.
Commissioner McCauley,
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson,
Aye.
Commissioner Payne,
Aye.
Commissioner Mettler,
Aye.
Chair Fiskum.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0.
Move to item 23, Vice Chair.
I move the commission find there is a substantial objective basis for believing that Samir Kanal may have violated ORS 192630 subsection 2, and the commission should investigate accordingly.
Administrator will call the roll, please. Item 23.
Commissioner Halt,
Commissioner Health.
Sorry. Aye.
Commissioner McCauley,
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson,
Aye.
Commissioner Payne,
Aye.
Commissioner Mettler,
Aye.
Commissioner Jancy,
Aye.
Chair Fiskum.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0.
Item 24 involving Tiffany Koyama Lane. Vice Chair, please.
I move the commission find there is a substantial objective basis for believing that Tiffany Koyama Lane may have violated ORS 192630 subsection 2, and the commission should investigate accordingly.
Vice Chair, call the roll. Item 24.
Commissioner McCauley,
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson,
Aye.
Commissioner Payne,
Aye.
Commissioner Resendez, is he back? No. Commissioner Mettler,
Aye.
Commissioner Jancy,
Aye.
Commissioner Halt,
Aye.
Chair Fiskum.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0.
Item 25, Angelita Murillo. Vice Chair, please.
I move the commission find there is a substantial objective basis for believing that Angelita Murillo may have violated ORS 192630 subsection 2, and the commission should investigate accordingly.
You, Vice Chair, pardon me, Administrator, please call the roll. Item 25.
Commissioner Thompson,
Aye.
Commissioner Payne,
Aye.
Commissioner Mettler,
Aye.
Commissioner Jancy,
Aye.
Commissioner Halt,
Aye.
Commissioner McCauley,
Aye.
Chair Fiskum.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0.
Thank you, respondents, for appearing today. We appreciate your patience with our schedule. We appreciate the tone, character, and content of your remarks. We're happy to hear your intent on doing good work for the city of Portland, where I grew up. So I'm wishing you goodwill. We'll look forward to dealing with you. Again, we've identified the need for more information, and that's it. So please understand that. We'll look forward to dealing with you individually on that in the next few days. Thank you very much. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. Thank you. We look forward to answering Mr. Pacheco's questions. And
Thank you.
bye-bye.
Okay, we'll allow the exit entrances to occur. As I ask a friendly question of our executive,
Yes.
does this matters next one be dealing with an unnamed set of issues need to be decided today, or can we hold that till the next meeting?
The dilemma of holding it is that, of course, we've send them all the report.
I understand. And somebody wants to speak. I know Mr. Sneath has been line for a while, so I'm just looking at the time. It's
I know.
we aren't done yet, so
Yeah.
I'm happy to stay because
All three respondents that were planning on attending the next one are in the waiting.
yeah, so let's just go ahead. Let's force their way through when you're ready.
And,
I know.
Yeah.
I know. But thank you for that.
I'm gonna let them if we can have it just quiet for a second.
Yeah.
We should be ready to go.
Okay, so colleagues, the time has now come for us to consider items involving the Ochoco West Water and Sanitary Authority. We have, I think it looks like 3 individuals who've indicated they want to be online with us by phone. All of these matters, 10 individual items, appear under the consolidated name label for us, which means we can consider them together, even though we'll make individual decisions when the time comes on that. The first step, Mr. Sneath, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you. And I'm not sure I can pronounce the name. Ross and Mary, hard last name to pronounce. Are you with us?
Yes.
Can you say your last name once for us?
Scrocca?
Scrocca, thank you very much. Ross and
Yes.
Mary Scrocca are with us as well, all by phone. For the record, my name is Dave Fiscom, the chair of the commission. Our process involves first hearing from our investigator. We have a Q&A time with him, then we'll ask you to make any comments to us you choose to make, then we'll head toward a decision. First step is a report from our investigator, Casey Fenstermaker. Please proceed.
Thank you, Chair, Commissioners. Casey Fenstermaker for the record. These next set of cases involve the Ochoco West Water and Sanitary Authority, which I will just use OWWSA to refer to them. The complaint was received from Justin Alderman of the Prineville Review, and that's only relevant because he requested specifically as media to be notified of any governing body meeting held by the OWWSA. When he filed his complaint, he incorporated 4 grievances into one complaint. One meeting was in December 2024, and then 3 meetings were in July 2025. What made this a little bit complicated is that over the course of that time, the composition of the board changed. So you have 2 individuals who were there for all of the meetings, 3 individuals, I believe, who were there for just the December meeting, and then the remaining individuals for the July meeting. So we'll start with the December meeting, and I'll go through these very quickly. Justin Alderman requested notice on November 12th of 2024 regarding OWWSA meetings. And for the December meeting, it appears that OWWSA did not provide the Prineville Review notice of their regular meeting. It also appears there were deficiencies in the meeting notice, including failure to include an electronic means to attend the meeting and a failure to include all required information regarding how a person could request an interpreter or other communication aid. It also appears there may have been discussions outside of a public meeting regarding considerations for OWWSA board membership. And finally, there was no information on the OWWSA website regarding who grievances should be addressed to, which is a requirement in our administrative rules. With respect to the July meetings, OWWSA failed to provide timely notice to the Prineville Review, failed to provide an agenda or list of principal subjects specific enough to permit members of the public to recognize matters in which they're interested, failed to provide electronic access to meetings, failed to provide correct information regarding who at OWWSA to contact to request an interpreter or other communication aid, With respect to executive sessions, they either identified the wrong subsection on certain meeting notices or failed to provide the general description of the statutory authority for holding an executive session. They convened an executive session and discussed employee compensation, which is prohibited, and they failed to include required information on the OWWSA website regarding who grievances should be addressed to. As a result, we believe there's a substantial objective basis to move this case to investigation.
Thank you, investigator. Any questions for our investigator before we proceed to the respondents? Questions, comments for what you've heard and read? Hearing and seeing none, Mr. Sneath and Mr. Ross Skoroka and Mary Skoroka, this is your time to make any comments you choose to make to us. Please proceed. We'll listen to you for a moment. I would encourage you to be as brief as possible as you respond. Thank you for being here. Mr. Sneath first.
Yes, thank you. My main point of getting on here today was just that I was mentioned basically in the article by Mr. Alderman, one of the board members that was basically granted telephone by remote access via telephone for the July 1st meeting. And unfortunately, that I don't believe that's true. I think that in my opinion, I didn't know there was a meeting. I never voted in the meeting for the new president, vice president, or secretary. I was actually told by a community member, actually the Skrokas, actually Ross had called and said, "Hey, there's a meeting. Do you know there's a meeting?" And I didn't. So that's when I called in to another board member. His name is Aiden. And asked what was going on, and they let me listen on the very end of the meeting. But that is all I had for myself to mention today. I just didn't feel it was appropriate that it implied that I was granted, some type of remote access when I wasn't aware of the meeting. So that's really all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Skroka, it's your turn. If you have any comments to make to us, please be brief.
Yes, thank you. I guess I'd just like to preface, not a justification or excuse, but I think as you are all aware, we're talking about a very small community entity, much of which board members, they're all volunteers. No one has the expertise to know a lot of the things that they may or may not supposed to be doing. And so some of those things were just unawares in meeting notices. I was only involved into December. I was just in a fill-in until they could fill other positions. And so I didn't have involvement after that. But in December, we had been working with attorney Jared Reed for guidance on everything that Mr. Alderman was kind of throwing at us. So all of the actions that were done were working through Jared Reed's law firm. So we were under the impression that he knows what he's doing when it comes to the law. Some of the things as far as not, providing electronic service and that, again, we're under the assumption this is a very small community and the information is only specific to those people in that community. So we're unaware that we had to make it public to all of Crook County. Those things were being corrected and trying to figure out the technology to do so when it was brought to light by Mr. Alderman. So it wasn't intentional keeping people out. It was we weren't aware, and we made the corrections, or they made the corrections after I left to start doing those things. So lastly, I reached out to Mr. Alderman when I saw this letter alleging that I had violated certain ORS statutes, and he denies, and I have it in writing, that he named me in having violated those statutes, even though I have your letter from your board stating that he says I did. So I don't know what's going on there, but I guess I'll leave it at that. I appreciate your time.
Thank you very much for being with us. Ms. Skroka, you want to make any comments to us? Now's your time. Be brief, please.
Yes, thank you. I was president of the board at the time in December when those apparently those allegations were brought up. And as Ross had stated, we were working with Jared Reed's office to address those. And in conjunction with being, told that you're a small community, these issues only impact those that live within the community. We were also told that because we didn't at the time have the ability to provide remote access, that if we didn't have the ability, that we weren't required to at that time because we simply did not have the wherewithal and the means to do that. So we began that process to mitigate that at that point in time. But again, we were communicating with Mr. Alderman via Jared Reed's office because we wanted to be compliant in every way possible. That was always our intention. And I wanted to specifically address the allegation that we appointed board members while having discussion outside of public. We specifically addressed that with Mr. Alderman via Jared Reed's office as well. We made it very plain through Jared Reed's office that we in fact did not have an executive session outside of our regular meeting in December. Members were appointed at the December regular meeting in open public session. There was no discussion outside of that, nor was there an executive session ever held. That's why there's no record of it. And again, Jared Reed's office addressed that with Mr. Alderman specifically with those same details. I was no longer a member of the board in those July allegations, so I can't speak to that, but that's
okay. Thank you for your comments, all of you. Any questions for our respondents? For the moment, hearing and seeing none, please stay on the line. Cheryl, Commissioner Helt has a question, please.
I have a question, just a technical question real quick. Does this water board have staff or is it all purely volunteer?
We do have staff, paid staff, Jamie and Kathy Freeze. And at the time when they did not submit notice in November of our meeting, I had emailed Jamie to be sure and do that because of past requests from Mr. Alderman. We had it posted on our community's reader board, but I found out after that meeting that she in fact had forgotten to let Mr. Alderman know or notify Mr. Alderman officially. But being the president of the board at the time, obviously I'm liable for that. But yes, we have paid staff and our paid staff failed to fulfill that request at November's meeting.
Any comments, colleagues? Okay, the time is now for us to decide how to proceed on these matters, plural. Any suggestions or comments on what our action could or should be? Mr. Thompson, you look prepared to say something.
Yeah.
If you're not.
I just feel like with the report and with the testimony we just heard, there's a lot of questions that need answers. So I would be supportive of moving this forward to answer those questions because I think some of them go one direction and some of them go the other. So.
And for what my view is worth, I would concur with that, even though I also have this understanding, at least remotely, of what small government organizations have to contend with without necessarily having the wherewithal to comply as with some larger organizations. And so I'm sympathetic to that. However, there were some missteps along the way. It's possible that education has occurred already to some degree and that the people who made mistakes won't make them again. But that could be uncovered, so to speak, in an investigation we undertake without fault and get more information. So that's where I'm heading. Colleagues? Hearing and seeing no differences, Vice Chair, please. This is with regard to item 26.
Thank you, Chair. I move the commission find there is a substantial objective basis for believing that Michael Papin may have violated ORS 192630, ORS 192640, ORS 192660 subsection 2, ORS 192670, OAR 199050040, OAR 19905000070, and OAR 19904000020 subsection 3, and that the commission should investigate accordingly.
Thank you, Vice Chair. You've heard the motion. Any questions on it? Colleagues, hearing and seeing none, the administrator will call the roll, please. Item 2.6.
Commissioner Thompson,
Aye.
Commissioner Payne,
Aye.
Commissioner Mettler,
Aye.
Commissioner Jancy,
Aye.
Commissioner Halt,
Aye.
Commissioner McCauley,
Aye.
Commissioner Resendez Gutierrez joined.
No.
Thank you. Chair Fiscom.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0.
Okay, moving on, colleagues. Vice Chair, please. Item 2.7.
I move the commission find there is a substantial objective basis for believing that Dan Parks may have violated ORS 192640, ORS 192660, subsection 2, ORS 192670, OAR 199050040, OAR 199050070, and OAR 19904000020, subsection 3, and the commission should investigate accordingly.
You heard the motion, colleagues. Administrator, call the roll, please. Item 27.
Commissioner Payne,
Aye.
Commissioner Mettler,
Aye.
Commissioner Jancy,
Aye.
Commissioner Halt,
Aye.
Commissioner McCauley,
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson,
Aye.
Chair Fiscom.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0.
Moving on, colleagues. Item 2.8, Vice Chair.
I move the commission find there is a substantial objective basis for believing that Richard Lopez may have violated ORS 192630, ORS 192640, ORS 192660, subsection 2, ORS 192.670, OAR 199050040, OAR 199050070, and OAR 199040020, subsection 3, and the commission should investigate accordingly.
Administrator, please call the roll. Item 2.8.
Commissioner Mettler,
Aye.
Commissioner Jancy,
Aye.
Commissioner Halt,
Aye.
Commissioner McCauley,
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson,
Aye.
Commissioner Payne,
Aye.
Chair Fiscom.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0.
Colleagues, item 2.9, Vice Chair, who's drinking water right now?
I move the commission find there is a substantial objective basis for believing that Tony Sneath may have violated ORS 192.640, ORS 192.660, subsection 2, ORS 192.670, OAR 199050040, OAR 199050070, and OAR 199040020, subsection 3, and the commission should investigate accordingly.
You please call the roll. Administrator, item 2.9.
Commissioner Mettler,
Aye.
Commissioner Jancy,
Aye.
Commissioner Halt,
Aye.
Commissioner McCauley,
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson,
Aye.
Commissioner Payne,
Aye.
Chair Fiscom.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0.
Vice Chair, item 3.0.
I move the commission find there is a substantial objective basis for believing that Mitch Logan may have violated ORS 192.640, ORS 192.660, subsection 2, ORS 192.670, OAR 199050040, OAR 199050070, and OAR 199040020, subsection 3, and the commission should investigate accordingly.
Please call the roll. Item 3.0.
Commissioner Jancy,
Aye.
Commissioner Halt,
Aye.
Commissioner McCauley,
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson,
Aye.
Commissioner Payne,
Aye.
Commissioner Mettler,
Aye.
Chair Fiscom.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0.
Vice Chair, item 3.1.
I move the commission find there is a substantial objective basis for believing that Aidan Humphrey may have violated ORS 192.640, ORS 192.660, subsection 2, ORS 192.670, OAR 199050040, OAR 199050070, and OAR 199040020, subsection 3, and the commission to investigate accordingly.
Please call the roll. Item 3.1.
Commissioner Halt,
Aye.
Commissioner McCauley,
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson,
Aye.
Commissioner Payne,
Aye.
Commissioner Mettler,
Aye.
Commissioner Jancy,
Aye.
Chair Fiscom.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0.
Vice Chair, item 3.2.
I move the commission find there is a substantial objective basis for believing that Bob Wolverton may have violated ORS 192640, ORS 192660 subsection 2, ORS 192670, OAR 199050040, OAR 199050070, and OAR 199040020 subsection 3, and the commission should investigate accordingly.
Please call the roll. Item 3.2.
Commissioner McCauley,
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson,
Aye.
Commissioner Payne,
Aye.
Commissioner Mettler,
Aye.
Commissioner Jancy,
Aye.
Commissioner Halt,
Aye.
Chair Fiscom.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0.
Vice Chair, item 3.3.
I move the commission find there is a substantial objective basis for believing that James Duncan may have violated ORS 192630, ORS 192640, ORS 192660 subsection 2, ORS 192670, OAR 199050040, OAR 199050070, and OAR 199040020 subsection 3, and the commission should investigate accordingly.
Please call the roll. Item 3.3.
Commissioner Thompson,
Aye.
Commissioner Payne,
Aye.
Commissioner Mettler,
Aye.
Commissioner Jancy,
Aye.
Commissioner Halt,
Aye.
Commissioner McCauley,
Aye.
Chair Fiscom.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0.
Item 3.4, Vice Chair.
I move the commission find there is a substantial objective basis for believing that Ross Skroka may have violated ORS 192630, ORS 192640, ORS 192660 subsection 2, ORS 192670, OAR 199050040, OAR 199050070, and OAR 199040020 subsection 3, and the commission should investigate accordingly.
Please call the roll. Item 3.4.
Commissioner Thompson,
Aye.
Commissioner Payne,
Aye.
Commissioner Mettler,
Aye.
Commissioner Jancy,
Aye.
Commissioner Halt,
Aye.
Commissioner McCauley,
Aye.
Chair Fiscom.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0.
Item 3.5, Vice Chair.
I move the commission find there is a substantial objective basis for believing that Mary Skroka may have violated ORS 192630, ORS 192640, ORS 192660 subsection 2, ORS 192670, OAR 199050040, OAR 199050070, and OAR 199040020 subsection 3, and the commission should investigate accordingly.
Please call the roll. Item 3.5.
Commissioner Payne,
Aye.
Commissioner Mettler,
Aye.
Commissioner Jancy,
Aye.
Commissioner Halt,
Aye.
McCauley,
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson,
Aye.
Chair Fiscom.
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0.
Thank you, colleagues. For those who are appearing before us, Mr. Sneath, Mr. Skroka, Ms. Skroka, please understand that what we have done today is not find there to have been a violation. We have indicated that we need more information, and we'll look forward to gathering that information with you and making a final decision here. Thank you for your patience with our schedule today. We appreciate your comments.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, colleagues, we will allow the exits to occur. And in a moment, I'll talk about next steps.
Counselor, what are your thoughts on may have violated the statutes and rules listed on the agenda?
Oh, sure. Sure.
Would have been a helpful question to ask like 10 votes ago.
I think we're good.
Okay, colleagues, the next step is to move into the second executive session unless you want to do public session
Do
first.
public section. We have people waiting, so.
I wondered if that was the case because that would honor, which we don't have to do, but in my final meeting, perhaps we should honor our legal counsel for all the great advice he's provided me over the years.
That too, but I think we need to go back into public and then we can talk.
One other good piece of good news is that I've never paid him a cent for the good advice he's provided me, so. Sorry, learned counsel. Okay, we will recess the current executive session by this gavel. And we will now convene the public session to finish the agenda in